If your travel business feels chaotic, reactive, or simply held together by hope and duct tape, this episode is going to change everything.
This is the Art of Selling Travel Podcast, and here to guide you through it all, your host, Glenda Beagle.
Hello, and welcome back. I'm really glad that you hit play today, because this might be one that hits a little close to home, but I do mean it in all the best possible ways. I want to talk to you about something that's been woven through so many of the coaching calls, so many of the podcast interviews, and just conversations that I've been having this year already. And funny enough, I didn't even realize it at first, but once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Just the way everything was coming together. This idea of playing your business on offensive rather than defensive. And before you think, oh, that's all sports talk, I'm just trying to book my clients, hang on with me. Because this just might be the most important shift you're going to make this year in your business. Because the truth is, you deserve to run a business that feels steady, confident, and powerful, not one where you feel like you're trying to keep the world from toppling you over. Let me start with a little story that, to be completely honest, I wasn't really planning to share publicly, but it was the wake-up call I needed, and I'm pretty sure it's a good chance it's the wake-up call you need as well. So as you probably already know, I know I've talked about it on other episodes, I did sit on numerous boards and other such. And when I say, let's just say, it was an experience. You know how you can look at a situation and think, okay, this is chaotic, but at least I know where the chaos is coming from, or at least I can control the chaos. That's kind of how this board was. The head of the board was operating like a runaway freight train. Things were moving so fast. New ideas were popping up all over the place, and communication was pretty good until it wasn't. See, my role didn't feel proactive. I wasn't sitting with a strategy or a vision or even a clear plan. Instead, I spent most of my time trying to catch the boxes that were falling off an out of control racing freight train. And I'm not exaggerating. I was doing whatever needed to be done in the moment behind the scenes because something was always falling apart, shifting direction, or being announced without warning. I was always working reactively, entirely on the defensive. But here's the kicker. I could still play the game because at least there was enough communication that I could see what was coming down the tracks and prepare for it. Until one day that communication stopped completely. The runaway train didn't slow down, but suddenly I wasn't even allowed to see it anymore. I had no idea what was being planned, what was coming, what crises were brewing, and I didn't know how to catch or what to catch was going on. And when someone asked me after I resigned, can you just tell us what you were doing so that we can fill your spot? I had to look at them and say, no, I actually can't. Because everything I did was reactive. I wasn't building anything. I was constantly patching holes. That revelation hit me so hard. Because it wasn't just about the board. It forced me to realize how often other business owners, including myself, can fall into that same trap. Where we get so busy in the next idea, in the new vision, and in the constant moving that sometimes, even with the best of intentions or without noticing, because sometimes survival mode feels easier than slowing down to rebuild something properly. I know I've talked in the past before that 2025 was a little bit of a dumpster fire. This became the ultimate realization for me on 2025, that everything I did was in a reactive mode rather than proactive. So I want you to ask yourself something. Be completely honest. Are you playing your business on the offense, or are you playing on the defense? Now, before you answer that, let me unpack what it is that actually looks like in real terms. So playing defense in your travel business can feel like constantly reacting. Something happens, you respond. A client reaches out and suddenly everything else gets dropped. The news changes and you start scrambling to reassure people. A new inquiry comes in and you feel like you have to impress them immediately because your process isn't clear. You post something because, well, let's be honest, it's been a while. Not because it fits a strategy, but because it's been a while since you posted. You make decisions quickly, but not confidently. Defense feels like running backwards, trying not to lose ground. After all, you're trying to hold back the other team. Whereas offense feels like moving with intention. You know what you're doing, why you're doing it. You know your process, your systems, your client experience, and the role you play in guiding people. You can anticipate their needs because you actually have the space to think. You show up because you've built a strategy that supports you, not because you're afraid of falling behind. Playing on the offense feels like leading the team, not just dodging collisions. Here's why I want to talk about this. Over the past few weeks, as I've been reviewing the transcripts, the recordings, or recording new episodes, prepping content for the year, I realized something massive. Almost every conversation so far in the last several months, every challenge an advisor's brought up, every moment of overwhelm. Why does this feel so hard? I keep meaning to fix this, but I haven't had time. Every conversation about marketing, fees, mindset, sales, visibility, every single one gets connected back to this theme. They're building the plane after it took off. And I have to say, without judgment, because I've been there too. In fact, that nonprofit, as I mentioned, was a mirror I absolutely did not want to see. When you're operating reactively, everything feels urgent. Everything feels heavy, feels personal. You're not building capacity. You're trying to outrun a freight train. But when you slow down, even just a little, and rebuild the foundation underneath of you, I promise everything changes. See, you're going to gain speed, not because you're constantly tripping over missing pieces. You gain confidence because you know exactly what it is you're doing and why. You gain clarity because you're not stuck reacting in the moment. And you finally get to play offense. After all, you can't score and win the game if you don't ever play offense. I want you to picture something for me for a moment. Just imagine, you could step into your business tomorrow and know without hesitation that your systems were solid, your messaging was clear, your client experience was defined, and your marketing had purpose. Imagine not worrying about losing clients because your value is so obvious. Imagine not dreading inquiries because you know the next step. Or not having to rewrite everything from scratch every single time somebody reaches out. Imagine for a moment feeling genuinely proud of how your business runs. The clarity doesn't come from hustling harder. It comes from slowing down and solidifying your foundation. I know it can feel counterintuitive. Travel advisors are the master of doing 10 things at once. I kind of think that's their superpower. But sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to stop, breathe, and ask, is the way I'm operating proactive or reactive? If the answer is reactive, it's not a criticism. In fact, that's an opportunity, a giant freaking opportunity. It's information. It's the moment where you get to choose how you want to do the next chapter of your business. How do you want that next chapter to look. So if nobody's told you this lately, I want to be the first. You are not supposed to build your business while it's already in midair. You are allowed to slow down long enough to strengthen the pieces that support your growth. You're allowed to create systems that make your work easier. You are allowed to build a business that moves with intention instead of urgency. This year, I want you to give yourself permission to step out of the defensive mode and move into offensive strategy. Not by working faster, but by building smarter. Not by doing more, but instead by choosing deeply aligned actions that support you with where you want to go. Because the moment you stop chasing that freight train and start building your own runway, everything changes. Your confidence, your results, your ability to lead your clients with clarity, it's limitless. You deserve a business that feels steady. You deserve momentum that doesn't require chaos. And you deserve to build a business that moves forward because you built it on purpose, not by accident. Thank you for tuning in. I can't wait to see how you step into the offensive side of your business this year. If you need help building out the offensive side of your business, make sure you come check out our website, Art of Selling Travel. We have all sorts of programs. We also have a free Facebook community. I'm going to link that up in the show notes for you as well. You don't have to do this alone. There is an entire community standing by to help you to build your business. I also promise you, it may be harder to build the business on the offensive, but I promise it is so much easier when you are playing business on the offense rather than the defense. Until next time, happy selling.